Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. Today I will be doing an improvisation using Spectrum nodes, and there's a node called Transform Mesh. And this node is actually really powerful and it can work with the components of the mesh. So even if they're like separated. So let's try with something like a grid as a starter. Use polygon grid because you can actually have hexagonal polygon here. So let's try plugging this in and get an output. Okay, this node is particularly interesting because you see how it's just modifying the vertices. And so currently, if we try, let's try with rotations. If we try to rotate it, it's rotating the whole thing. If we use polygon boom, however, let's plug this in, and this goes there. So this one is separating the polygons, and supposedly if we change this to individual or something, sometimes in recent spreadsheet I found oftentimes it's kind of frozen like this and things disappear. So let's just save this a little bit quickly as we transform mesh and just reopen. Okay, seems like it's doesn't like some of the data here. What's the error message? Please index out of range. Why? That's weird. Oh, okay, I know why. That's the polygon. That's actually very, quite interesting. That's very dangerous. I mean, from here it goes to there. Well, anyway, let's continue. Glad I found out about that. So, yes, we can get something like this quite easily. This is actually quite interesting already, even though maybe not as expected. But we can use the custom, I believe. So yeah, the custom actually works better. Custom has this space directions that you can adjust, also the XYZ. You see how it's rotating on its own space. So that's the rotations. I believe if you want to add a scale, you add it beforehand. And let's see with the scaling. So there is that. It's global. Global seems to be making more sense. Or custom with all direction. So this one is probably the most useful or commonly you want to use this node for. So transform mesh scale and transform mesh rotations, and you can have these rotations. And I wonder if also the rotations can be randomized like that. Does not seem to work unless maybe using like a split. Oh yeah, with the split actually it is working. So this is interesting actually. If you want, I'm gonna show you something that's maybe quite common. So this one is random, right? Random float and minimum and maximum value. This is I've done this many times, so it should be familiar apparently. So we need to use list split. Alright, let's try using vector noise. Actually, noise displays, maybe noise displays might work, or just vector noise with a scalar output. The vertices can come from the center of the polygon grid, and so the noise can go here. Okay, it seems to be moving, but the rotation, of course, the value needs to be remapped. So use map range, list, turn on list limits, and play around with this value. So this should be controlling the rotation, more or less. And then here, with vector noise, we can use math and move the noise. So this is one application. The cool thing about this, of course, it works not just with a polygon grid. It can work with anything. So you have this already. Now you want to replace this guy. You know the drill. Use link, cut, and then control right mouse button, cut. Oops. Control. It says shift right, drag. Okay. Now we have this router. We can use maybe like a, let's use a cylinder. So that's the vertices, polygon. Okay, this one is expecting the center of polygon, so we need to use this guy. There. So interesting, right? Slightly tricky, maybe it's not working as you expected. Okay, it is actually working as expected. Yeah, it's rotating the cylinder, and there's a phase also. So we can still control the scaling of the cylinder phase. Okay, so let's get rid of the cap of the cylinder. So we only have this face of the cylinder. Now it's rotating in the crazy way. So if you want to get a little bit fancier, so let's see. So this one, this vertices and face. So it should be simpler like that. Things starting to grow. But it's not too bad. We can be a little bit fancier here with turning it into diamond mesh, for example. Okay, and maybe one more thing, sphere cast. So we're casting it into a sphere. So more or less it's becoming like a pineapple if you get rid of the rotations. Or if you're careful with the rotations, this should look more or less like a pineapple. So let's maybe if I unplug this, you can see what's going on. So I can scale this part, and I can also rotate, but the rotations need to be more controlled. So this is sometimes the tricky one is to get the normal and then to control the rotations of each one of the face. Sort of getting there. You can actually use more than one transform mesh. Just leave it like that, and then let's actually reload. So instead of move, scale, we rotate. So we have that rotation, okay. Normal, maybe individual rotation. I have one setup that actually kind of works right away. It's one of these. Oh well. Probably for now just leave it be, or maybe turn on custom with the direction. Yeah, see, it's keep rotating in a weird way. I just gonna leave this one. It's because it's kind of already kind of interesting. The next thing you want to do, maybe just mesh join and then solidify if you want. So you see how each vertex, each polygon here is separated, but usually you want to join it back after the fact, after all this transform mesh. So this is actually really quite powerful. Yeah, be careful. Every now and then you get disconnected and then this thing disappear, doesn't like it. But here, this one is okay. And you can solidify. I mentioned this on my Twitter. It's kind of like a quick and easy way to have like a pineapple, kind of like a scaled result. I have another different setup that I borrow from my friend. It's slightly more complicated. This one, but this one is interesting. Anyway, if you can rotate the diamonds following the curve of the objects, that's gonna give better result. This is what we have. Save it anyway. And I have another example. So facing products yesterday. Cylinder, okay, pineapple scale. Okay, this one is a simple method. This one, I believe, rotating correctly. Okay, it's slightly complex. See, I'm using the whole thing. Everything is the same, pretty much. Let's simplify this for now. Cylinder, castosphere, diamond mesh, polygon boom. Maybe I should put castosphere before diamond mesh. Maybe that's why. And there's this transform mesh as usual and solidify. See how simple it is. Maybe I should give this to you. And we can rotate it. No problem here. And we can scale. Oh, actually, this one is also rotating. This is really interesting. I found this by accident also. This one actually doesn't have the scaling, but I like the simplicity of this setup. So let's use scaling here and custom. So we can scale based on the individual. So this thing sometimes slightly confusing because there are so many options. This one works. Okay, that's exactly what I want. This is what I said, what I mean by pineapple. So you can control each and every face. Cool. All right. So this one is okay. This one is working. I can share it to you. There's one more thing with a pineapple. This one is a setup by Stan. Stan pineapple. Okay. Slightly more complex, but actually really quite smart. If I were to explain, so for each scale is made up this way. Plain bevel with this vertices masking on the first and second mask. So here, this is controlling the roundness. Okay, you see, that's giving the bevel. So that's kind of like the scale. The top part remain the same. Thickness and solidify, that's, you know, the drill. This is just the thickness. And there's this matrix apply. Well, this one is rotating it in an angle. Kind of like the pineapple example. And then it goes into this adaptive polygon, of course. This one, very powerful. But before that, if we actually get rid of this, so you might be wondering what's going on here. Okay, this is just a bunch of things here, kind of like a cylinder where each face is already being separated like a ring and then randomized. This is a, if you look at it, yes, it's a complicated, but also really quite powerful. You can get this setup. Probably I shouldn't just give it to you. You should try to remake it yourself. This one is taken from Facebook group on Blender nodes or something. So there's a cylinder, there's a cast. Okay, I make the cast, so it's cast to sphere, so it's more like a pineapple. And then this one started to get slightly confusing, slightly complex, but it's basically separating cylinder. Like I said, this is cylinder. It's cutting cylinder and then randomizing its face on every row or columns. He uses path length and all this basically just to make the matrix for the scale. This is Stan's work. Maybe I should just give it to, yeah, you can download it from Facebook. And this is the result. Very clever, very clever. In fact, this is actually a very cool way to replace face. So you keep the polygon looking face, and then but you replace it with adaptive polygon with something that's more complex. You can replace each part with the leaves, for example, or scale for like fish or dragon. So yeah, so that's really how I what I want to talk about is the improvisations. Actually, with polygon boom, etc., and all these manipulations of components, you might actually do the same thing, but much simpler. This is actually what I want to show you. So yeah, if we're scaling it too much, but if we kind of rotate it, it gives you like a pineapple look. Alright, so there you go. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know if you have any more question or something to add Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.